Another great way to look at it, and there's a little quote that I always like to go back to, which is that it's the dosage that makes the poison. We are supposed to experience fear, but evolutionarily, it was to experience it for minutes at a time, at most, seconds at a time. Alligator about to bite me, snake coming out of the tree, something that I can immediately react to and then get away from. And then the fear that, sets off the adrenal gland that, gets me to react and sharpen my senses really, really quickly has done its job, and then it can be processed through the body. Our bodies, our minds were never meant to live in fear all of the time, which is what, if you find yourself, doom scrolling, listening to the news too often, just try to identify things in your life that are draining you consistently, because that's not what your body was built for. That's not how we evolved, to have a consistent chronic amount of stress, amount of fear, amount of hopelessness. You're not supposed to operate from that all the time. You're supposed to operate from love, which should be where you're coming from almost all of the time.
Yes. And again, sounds simple, but the reality is, none of us are here to say like you'll immediately start being able to do this all the time, like right now. No, it doesn't work like that. It does not work like that. It's cause for celebration when you find those moments in which you achieved and overcame that fear, or overcame that element in which you used to make decisions from that was a child or substrate of fear. Like doubts or questioning things, or like question. The biggest fear that we have is the belief in ourself. The belief in yourself is the biggest fear that almost every human being on the planet has. And it doesn't need to be that way. If you look at the most successful beings that have existed, as Einstein says, you look at the most successful people that have ever existed in our societies, you look at them and they all started within their heart and within their soul first. And only then did they become known, because then when they were known, they had already identified what they need to be, and they focused on themselves, and they believed in themselves, and they had belief in themselves. And you ask any high functioning athlete, you ask any of the most famous people on this planet that have achieved successes that our society puts on a pedestal to say they're great, they'll tell you that they believe in themselves. They'll say they have fears. Absolutely. And I'm sure some say, and I watch interviews, they say, oh, I was terrified of this, I'm terrified of that. Like, absolutely they have fears. But the overwhelming majority of the time, they believe they can do it. They have confidence in themselves. And then what is that? That's absence of fear and an instinctual choosing of love for yourself and love for your ability that you have within yourself, that you can do it. You can do, you can have, and you can be anything you can imagine. Like, that's what the lyrics of the All You Need Is Love tell you. Like that's in it. You can do, you can have, and you can be anything you can imagine.